How good is UCLA? Welcome to the Voice of College Football. We break down the game we all love each and every day with you. Best discussion, debate, and analysis because of your contribution, your support, your engagement. Join me tonight after all the bowl games, 11:30 Eastern time, approx. After all the primetime games. We will be taking your comments and questions and, of course, your phone calls. UCLA downs Utah 42-32. This is a big deal. It's significant in the Pac-12. And for maybe the first time in about 5 years, if it's significant in the Pac-12, it's actually significant to college football because the Pac-12 is a pretty good conference this year. It's deep and it's good at the top. Maybe not one elite team, definitely not two or three. We'll see if UCLA or USC are elite. The recruiting rankings and what we know about the personnel would tell us not quite, but really good. And what we saw here is, well, we're in Hollywood, so movie-making kind of stuff. You know, you've got your much maligned quarterback who now is the all-time touchdown leader, the all-time passing touchdown leader at UCLA. More than Troy Aikman, Tom Ramsey, let's see, Rick Neuheisel, Cade McNown, Josh Rosen, and the guy that he passed, Brett Hundley. Remember Brett Hundley? Didn't have much of an NFL career with the Packers, but he had the all-time record. But now it belongs to one Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who is now not showing us flashes and then playing erratically and throwing the ball to the other team and running around and losing yardage and botching plays. He's playing dynamic football, but also consistent football, consistent on a regular basis. And now two quality opponents in a row, UCLA has been clearly better than. We saw the Washington game last week at the Rose Bowl. Now we see against the Utah Utes. And this is significant because Utah is the standard in the Pac-12 as of course, last season's championship and the team that has played in the championship game the most in the last 3 or 4 seasons. We also have Chip Kelly. We thought the game had passed him by. Maybe it has. But based on recent performance this year, the game has not passed him by, at least not in the Pac-12. Chip Kelly has the Bruins at 6-0 for the first time since 2005. That team finished at 10-2. And another big barometer here, I think, is that UCLA beats Utah. Again, this is the standard not only from a success standpoint right now in the Pac-12, looking at Utah from a toughness standpoint. Utah always brings it. Even when they're inferior in regards to talent, they do not get pushed around and bullied. UCLA was the tougher team. The better team and the tougher team. Absolutely. And this is the team that had beaten them every year since 2015, every time at the Rose Bowl since 2013, and the last 5 meetings by an average of 27 points per game. And UCLA is now better than expected and better than Utah. That 8-4 season last year was smoke and mirrors, paper thin. They were decent last year. They beat a lot of bad teams, and they lost to anybody with a pulse. Any of the good teams on the schedule, anybody above 500, they lost to. This team is much tougher, more sound. Man, they got punched in the mouth in the fourth quarter last week against Washington after actually taking a punch in their first prime time kind of matchup of the season. Went down 7-0, first drive of the ball game. Also, their first drive of the game went all the way down to a 4th and goal situation. They went for it and were denied. They could have hung their heads. They didn't. They fought back. They showed resilience. So maybe mentally tough as well. They certainly were in this game. At the point that Utah made it 28-25 early fourth quarter, it was still a game on the scoreboard, obviously, only a 3-point game. But UCLA showed that they were the better team. But it was Utah's game to steal at that point, but UCLA rode it home with 2 consecutive touchdowns. Darius Muasau had a big interception in the first quarter, which led to a touchdown. He had a forced fumble in the fourth quarter on a huge hit in the hole on a key play that led to a Jalen Davies run all the way down to the 1-yard line. That led to a touchdown. So Muaso's 2 turnovers on defense directly led to touchdowns. Zach Charbonne. Gotta love watching this guy run. He's a violent runner. He looks for contact. He gets into the secondary and he's looking for guys to mow down. He's looking for guys to stiff arm. He's not trying to just separate and get as far from the defense as possible. He's the aggressor. So you got a quarterback making great decisions, also just exuding confidence, oozing with confidence. And you've got a runner as violent as Zach Charbonne with the skills and the talent to match. Of course, a Southern California who had come home last season and had a big season for the Bruins last year in some obscurity because of UCLA's season with 12 touchdowns. And now he's having a big season. 198 yards rushing with a touchdown for him. Jake Bobo, he's been a find at tight end. David Cutcliffe had suggested him to Chip Kelly, and he flies cross country from Duke. Scored a couple touchdowns in this one. We saw him light up a Washington's defense last week. UCLA, again, 6-0 for the first time since 2005, and a more mentally and physically tougher team and prepared to go down the stretch in the Pac-12. With Utah in the rearview mirror, look out. UCLA's got a bye week to prepare for a trip to Watson Stadium and Oregon. So between USC, UCLA, Utah, we're going to keep Utah in it. They've only lost one conference game, a tough one on the road, which they were outclassed today, but still, let's not give up on Utah. And then, of course, USC. Those 4 teams, USC, UCLA, Oregon, Utah, I believe, the class of the conference. Utah, huge date with USC. Of course, they got to win this. They cannot lose another division game, although the divisions are done, and it's all about the 1 versus the 2 seed in the Pac-12. Your thoughts down below right here at the Voice of College Football, and keep in mind that we've got post-game shows on all over the place on our team channels every Saturday, and call-in show every Saturday night at 11:30 Eastern Time right here at the Voice of College Football. We will talk to you soon.